back to the DA Sports Podcasting Network. I'm your host. With me, as always, is Andrew. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, you're going pretty well. It's a Sunday night. Football is crazy, but we're not here to talk about football today, unfortunately. Got a lot to say about the boys, but we're not here.
No, get it off your chest, man.
I just, that team is just ridiculously messed up right now. Like, that team played well. They probably should have beat Philly today. But, a lot of people were talking about the referees and all that crap. That's fine. But it was like 57 seconds left in the game,
Mhm.
and they're in the red zone, and they got backed up. Like, what the are you doing? Like, what the F are you doing? What is wrong with you? Like, what the hell is wrong with this team? Same thing like last year. Exact same crap. Like, they should have beat Philly. They were the better team today. It's absolute bloody nonsense. That team should get to pull their head out of their ass. Right?
Can you at least use some more colorful language so you don't start sounding like Skip Bayless?
Yeah. Honest to God, like that team needs something. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe they need Tony Robbins to come in and give them some kind of great motivational talk and tell them how stop being this way, stop being that way. Shallow Hal.
Brother, Tony Robbins is so 20 years ago.
I know.
Gotta use Eric Thomas now.
Sorry, maybe get a guru. No, I don't know. Not the love guru, but some kind of guru. Anyway, let's get to MLB because MLB is coming up soon, and this is getting a really big, interesting MLB free agency time. We have a lot of free agents. The biggest one, who is probably be the first person to ever crack $500 million.
We're gonna jump right in on Shohei.
We are gonna jump right in on Shohei because you might as well start with the biggest dog in the yard because that is the biggest dog right now.
I'm gonna blow your mind. Are you ready for this?
Where do you think he's gonna go? Because there's a lot of suggestions.
You want me to guess term and stuff like that?
I don't think term is going to be. It's probably be the biggest deal in baseball. It'll probably be bigger than Trout's.
So listen, I think it's going to be the biggest AAV of any contract ever signed in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
But I think because he's coming off Tommy John again.
Yeah.
Or needs Tommy John again. I'm not sure if he actually has done the surgery again.
Torn UCL requires second elbow surgery.
Yeah. So he's not pitching this year. It's going to be just like his rookie year where he only played outfield and DH.
Mm-hmm.
So do you? And again, this is his second one in what years? 5 years? So
probably second one, yeah.
But
he's 29.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, listen, any team is going to benefit from having Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the biggest front runners are going to be your teams like your Dodgers, your Yankees.
MLB right now is saying potential fits are Giants, Mets, and the Angels, potentially. Those are the potential fits right now.
So I'm going to shoehorn this in. Okay.
The Yankees have the money to do it. So do the Dodgers.
Yeah, but there's also a team in Major League Baseball that everyone forgets has the money to do it. They just refuse to spend it. That would be our beloved Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh.
Now Shohei's landing in Toronto. I think there's like a half a percentage point that he ends in Toronto. But
I want to see if I can put money on that. because I guarantee if I could probably turn $5 into five that I did like 50 grand because it's gotta be astronomical.
Yeah, I think see, Toronto's not the sexy pick for everybody because high taxes and I mean, yeah, we're Canadian. We pay taxes out the ass, but
exchange rate.
Our dollar's in the fucking tank. But
when is it not?
But listen, realistically speaking, I think he's going to the Dodgers, especially if Kershaw. I think Kershaw's hurt and he may be done.
He's a free agent. He's a free agent.
He may be done.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be one of those like 10, 12-year, $500 million deals. No, because of the elbow problem.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a 5-year deal for 250. I think well, it's the same thing. The same thing about it like this. It's the same money that the LA Galaxy gave David Beckham.
Yeah.
When Beckham came over from the Premier League.
Yeah.
But I think that Shohei is definitely worth $50 million a year, based on what he can provide. He's about to win his second MVP.
Yeah.
About to win his second MVP. It's pretty much unanimous at this point.
Yeah.
And he didn't even pitch in the last month of the year.
No, he still had. I think we got the best ERA or most innings still.
Pardon me?
Was it? He still led in something as far as like pitching went. Wasn't it ERA?
It was probably ERA, but ERA is very slowly becoming an archaic stat.
Yeah.
A lot of baseball heads don't use ERA anymore. To quantify if a pitcher's good.
Yeah.
They use all the sabermetrics and stuff that I don't have the patience to learn.
Yeah.
That being said, I think he's going to the National League.
If you go to the National League?
Yeah. I will. If he doesn't go to the Dodgers, it would shock me. But
you don't think San Diego's?
No, because point this out right off the top then. Okay. Listen, they had to take a $50 million loan in September just to pay payroll.
Yeah, there's something wrong with you.
If you think
$50 million loan, there's something wrong.
As far as the Padres are concerned, if they're having to do that, they have a cash flow issue, which means I think everybody except for Bogarts, I think Bogarts and Tatis are untouchable. I think everyone else is open for sale.
I don't think Machado is. Machado just signed a deal in like within when the spring training started.
I don't care. I think Machado is still on the table too.
Well, they're losing because they're losing Blake Snell because he's in free agency right now.
Yeah, and Blake Snell may very well win his second Cy Young award.
Yeah, if that's the case, he's that's a big money. That's a big money right there.
Well, that's what got Trevor Bauer his deal in LA.
Really quickly, speaking of Trevor Bauer,
do I think he's coming back, and do I know which team he's going to?
There's talk. I mean, he's popping out those. He's teasing Toronto.
He teased Toronto.
If he comes to Toronto, he's gonna be loved here. He'll be loved here as long as he keeps his ass clean.
For those that don't know, a few nights ago, Trevor Bauer went on one of his Twitter sprees.
Yeah.
Where he'll just start shooting the shit with people on Twitter for like an hour. And it all started with a tweet saying that if the fans the fans in Toronto still hate him for the 2016 ALCS. And it was kind of like a resounding no. There was a few that were like, yeah, F off type deal.
Yeah.
But even people were making fun of it, saying, no, it's not you we hated, it was the drone.
Look,
because again, there's context there.
Look, if Trevor Bauer comes to Toronto, no matter what he did against Toronto, the city will embrace him the same way they embraced David Price when he came over to Tampa.
Detroit.
Sorry, was it Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he came over. Like when he came over from there, He was embraced, and he would pitch against the Jays a lot when he was in Tampa. So,
Oh yeah, but
like,
listen,
he'll be embraced.
that rotation that they had back then, Price, Garza,
Yeah,
Shields, Casimir.
yeah,
There's a reason why they went to the World Series in '08,
yeah,
right? But getting back on track,
yeah.
I think the most likely landing spot for Trevor Bauer might be Toronto, but I'm not. I'm trying not to be a homer here.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to hold my breath on it.
I think there's still an outside chance he goes back to Japan.
I think he might. I mean, he might stay in Japan. Like he
Yeah,
started pitching
I
very
think
well in Japan the last few years. I'm
like he had a rocky start when he got over there, but he hadn't played professional baseball in a year and a half. So,
I think everyone has a little bit of a rocky start when they first go over to Japan.
um,
It's baseball, but it is a
but
little
I
different,
think
right?
that absolutely, absolutely. Um, but I think if he comes back to MLB, I think it's a I think it's a matter of he could go to the Mets if Daddy Cohen's still trying to buy a World Series.
They need a lot more work than trying to buy it. Like they're gonna have to dump something because you got Lindor there, you got Alonso. I know Alonso was on the trade block earlier. They said he wasn't, but they're probably fucking was.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, what
I think there's two people that are untouchable on the Mets, and
Lindor?
that's Francisco Alvarez, their
Okay,
young catcher,
yeah, yeah.
and Francisco Lindor.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone else is open for business.
Speaking of the other New York team, the Yankees,
Mm,
I did see somebody, I don't know who it was, posted a scenario.
hmm
Trade the race brought up this year, Jason Dominguez, the highly touted #1 prospect.
Alien.
Right? Trade to San Diego for Soto.
I wouldn't do that one for one.
I wouldn't do that for one either, but it's the Yankees, man. They try to get the best players no matter what. In the past, it used to work, but I don't think Aaron Boone can control
I
all
think in
those
general
egos.
going yeah, I think in general going back to what I was just saying about the Padres, I think that Soto being moved is a very real possibility this
Yeah,
summer. Or
yeah,
sorry,
especially
this winter.
yeah, because he's going to demand a high price tag for sure, and if he
Well,
wants to stay in San Diego.
he's a free agent at the end of the year. This is a contract
Yeah,
year for Soto.
yeah,
Now he had a down year by Soto standards, but like he's been the one of the best hitters in baseball for like since he came up like 3 4 years ago.
yeah, it's true.
I mean, uh, like I mean, not much defensively, but
No, he's more or less a bat.
I think if anyone's benefited from the National League using a DH, it's Juan Soto.
Yeah. Another guy's on the move though, who's in free agency. He opted out of the option, and that's Cody Bellinger. Now he had a pretty good year. He had a pretty good year.
So Cody Bellinger, right? I think if there's any sort of realistic target that the Jays get, it's Cody Bellinger. He would slot right into where they just lost Kevin Kiermaier to
Yeah,
free agency.
yeah,
He had quite the bounce back year. That was not quite MVP Bellinger that we
no,
saw,
no.
but that was like 2018, 2017 Cody Bellinger that we saw play for the Cubs. And that's what everyone was looking for because that man looked lost 2020, 2021, 2022. Like it's almost like he forgot how to play baseball. But
Yeah.
you know what? He went to the Cubs on a prove it deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and Toronto was in on him last winter before he went to the Cubs.
Yeah.
So I think it's very possible that Cody Bellinger goes to Toronto.
He he is a better left-handed bat than Kiermaier was. Not defensively,
Power wise.
but power
Yeah.
wise, yes, he's definitely a better bat. Other notable ones, Aaron Nola. He's
Mm.
hitting free agency. That's an interesting. I don't see him leaving Philly.
Outside of Shohei, is he the best arm available?
Uh, right-handed arm probably, yeah. Because Blake Snell's the other arm, right?
Right, right.
Right. So, he's a right-handed arm, yes.
Aaron Nola. I think there's a good chance he resigns in Philly.
Yeah, I don't think he leaves Philly at all.
No,
No, not after the past 2 years.
no,
There's no way.
I think he stays in Philly.
No. As far as Josh Hader, he's ranked number
Ooh,
6. Now, Josh
ooh.
Hader's 30, coming off. Well, not really rough, but not typical Josh Hader. Well, at least in Milwaukee.
So
But
that's an interesting one.
I say you're saying Angels,
Relievers.
Phillies, or Rangers.
Mm,
Rangers gonna be a hot ticket right now because they just won the World Series.
absolutely. I mean, I think no matter who it is,
Yeah.
I think Josh Hader is going to be an asset to that bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is that little thing where people questioned his character towards the end of the year about him not wanting to pitch a save because he didn't want a chance getting hurt, and it wasn't something he had done in a couple of years. Josh Hader is a one-inning guy.
Yeah.
I see a world where he's still a closer somewhere, but I think he could also maybe slot into Baltimore as a setup guy.
Ooh, yeah, because there's no way that they. I mean, Felix Bautista's coming off that. I think he also had Tommy John, didn't he?
They lost Tommy John.
Yeah.
Or yeah, they lost sorry. They lost Felix Bautista to Tommy John. So
Yeah.
he's out most of next year.
Yeah, for sure.
I think, but
they still have Yadier
yeah, Yannier Cano.
who's Cano. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Yannier Cano,
he was the setup guy for Batista.
Yeah,
Or split save duties.
Yeah, and I think that Hader would fit really well in Baltimore, actually.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Now that you say that, as a Jays fan,
That would suck.
as much as I like Baltimore this year, as a second because I liked them a lot, and I was on this show and I even said that I like Baltimore a lot. I picked them. I originally picked them to go to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that team. It's just a really good young team. Like I said, I like Henderson. I like Rushman. I love Cedric Mullins. But him going to Baltimore with that team now
Would make a lot of sense.
so it would make a lot of sense. It'd be crap for Jays fans. 100% crap for Jays fans. Like there's no way.
But again, like, so full disclosure, kind of break the fourth wall here for a minute.
Yeah.
When we started this thing, I kind of put it in my mind to do my best not to be biased. So like you and I have yeah, you and I have conversations all the time where I do kind of play the unbiased part, right?
Yeah.
So I think realistically, yeah, I think Josh Hader would be a phenomenal fit in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I don't really see anybody else where like Josh Hader would be a perfect fit.
Perfect fit and money are two different things, though.
That's true. Well, if Baltimore's willing to spend, they show I mean, they've shown before, like when they have a contending window, they might spend.
They might spend, yeah.
You know,
let's get a little bit more. Let's go a bit more of the Blue Jays here. I know people want to hear about this. Matt Chapman is a free agent. Kiermaier is a free agent.
I think Matt Chapman lost about $10 million for his performance.
I think Matt Chapman stays in Toronto. I don't think he goes anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not saying because I got his jersey. I'm just saying because I think, like you said, he probably lost about $10 million somewhere. He's arguably one of the best defensive third baseman in the league.
He just won another Gold Glove.
Yeah, his bat was so and so this year, especially in the early going was great, but then it kind of died off. He had glimpses of it back, that it was in April and May. I think they re-signed. Chapman. I really do. I for how much I couldn't tell you, but it might be a 3 or 4 year deal, if anything.
Allow me to play devil's advocate.
Sure. Because we're gonna get to
I,
something, and I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna be really pissed off about me, probably.
pardon me.
I'm gonna say something eventually, and you're probably get really pissed off at me. I'm gonna say it anyway, but you just go what you gotta say first.
Okay. So I think Matt Chapman doesn't resign in Toronto, and it's only because of how well Davis Snyder played. I think you can slot him in at third base easily.
Yeah, but Snyder's also a utility guy too. He can play anywhere.
You can also put Santiago Espinal, who's quite serviceable, at second base.
And I'll get to that one in a second too, because I have somebody that's gonna probably who might come. Depends.
Okay.
But
and also, well, I mean, there's also a possibility of them re-signing with Merrifield too.
he's already opted out of that 18 million. He already opted out of that option. I don't think he resigns in Toronto. I don't think he wants to play here in Canada. I just don't think he does. I know there's a big thing about him coming here originally.
It was a mutual option.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a mutual option. The club declined.
And so did he.
And so did he. So
I think he's gone in Toronto. I think he had his time here, and that's it.
No, okay, and that's fair.
That's fair, yeah, and that's fair to win me. But he did good things in Toronto. I think he'll come back when he comes back as on an opposing team. I think he'll be fine. But with Jays though,
so
I could see.
Do you want to hear where I think Chapman's going?
Where do you think Chapman's going to go? Back to Oakland? No way.
No, that's a death sentence for anybody right now.
Yeah.
And Oakland's not willing to spend.
No. We're relocating to Vegas, probably.
I'm racking my brain, and the Giants pop out at me. Giants could use a third baseman.
Yeah. Right beside Brandon Crawford.
Crawford's getting old, but he can still field.
Yeah.
So,
but that'd be not bad. That's a good side.
Defensively, I can't think of a better left side of the infield than that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. I'm thinking the Jays might also though bring back Tail. Lourdes is also free agent. I don't see. I think Lourdes is going to stay in Arizona. I think he's in Arizona, but he might come back to Toronto. I don't know if Li's going to do it, but my pick. Now, a lot of people don't know this. You do. I'm a big White Sox fan as well. And TA got released. He's a free agent now. I mentioned this earlier, but around the trade deadline last year to you in private conversations that I would love to see TA as a Blue Jay. Now, whether or not they do that, if anything, he moves to second base. He played second on the U.S. Olympics on the U.S. team, and for the World Baseball Classic, he can totally do it in Toronto too. I don't think Espinal stayed. I think they got rid of Espinal. He's a utility guy because you have Kevin Biggio as it is. Unless you're going to use Kevin Biggio for trade bait, you might as well use him. And you can play field, you can play all this place.
Well, okay, so like literally, if you want to reward Kevin Biggio for his year, you can put him at third base and put Davis Snyder at second.
Could do that too with Davis Snyder. It'd be interesting to see what happens. We're speculating, but I love to see TA as a Blue Jay. That's New Jersey if it is.
Careful, your bias is showing.
I know. I'm trying not to be biased on this.
Listen.
Hey, I would love to see TA stay as a White Sox. Bottom line. But
Tim Anderson, okay, objectively had the worst year of his career last year. I think if he goes anywhere, it's going to be on a prove it deal.
Well, Charles a place to prove it.
But I think he stays in Chicago.
Yeah. Lucas Giolito, also a former White Sox, who went to the Cardinals. He's also
had a rough year.
He had a very rough year. I don't know. He's going to be also a guy who's on being on prove it deal as well. I can see him maybe staying in St. Louis. Maybe they say here Red Sox. Red Sox need a lot of help. I mean, they already said goodbye to Justin Turner. He's gone.
I can see Giolito going to the Yankees, honestly.
Oh God. I mean, the Yankees.
Well, hear me out, right? So the Yankees are going to lose Domingo Germán to whatever suspension he's about to get for the domestic abuse policy.
Yeah.
Severino can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
You barely got a health, like you didn't, like Rodon hardly played last year.
No, Rodon didn't play. And he didn't pitch very well either.
Yeah. Cortez kind of came back down to earth after a really good 2022.
Yeah.
I think that Giolito would actually be a really good addition to that. And I only say this because, like, if he goes to the Yankees, he's definitely not the number one.
No,
He's
that's
not
cold
even
till he decides he wants to give it up.
he's not the number two. That'll be Rodon.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the Yankees as a fourth or fifth starter.
Mm-hmm.
And that order in your rotation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're kind of not in high leverage situations, which I think might be what Giolito needs to get back on track. So
Yeah,
I think he might go to the Yankees for 1 or 2 years on kind of a prove it situation, or one with a club option.
Yeah, I mean he's only about 2 years removed from a no hitter, right? So
Yeah, but dude, like literally, like there was a dude that played in Chicago that I haven't heard of since, named Alec Mills,
yeah,
that threw
sure.
a no hitter in 2020.
Yeah,
Okay,
he hasn't done much since.
just because somebody, but if you want to be if you want a better example on Giolito, okay, like he was in Cy Young conversations like 3 years ago,
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has the stuff.
Yeah, he had a down year, like a really down year this year.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very good at all. Let's go out to the other side with the Yankees. So Yankees really quickly now. Yeah, they did lose Harrison Bader into free agency. He is opted out. He has now a free agent. Um, Kevin Kiermaier has
Mm.
expressed interest of playing in the AL East. I can see Kevin Kiermaier going to the Yankees. He likes playing the AL East. He said he made a statement on that one too. I don't think he's going to go to Baltimore because that's Cedric Mullins in center field. There's no way that he's giving that up, and he's a better bat than Kiermaier. So I can see him going to the Yankees.
I could actually see him going to the Red Sox, to be honest. But
Ooh. Who's the center field right now for the Red Sox?
well, it's Jared Duran,
Okay,
and
he's up and coming though, so I don't see him maybe
he
getting
had a
that
really
position
good
to
year.
win.
He had a
He
really
did,
good.
yeah, he did, yeah.
So but here's what I'm thinking, right? If you ask Kiermaier or Duran to move to left or right, and you can make that work.
Yeah.
Um, the Yankees, if they really want to, can throw Aaron Judge in center field. He's one of the best defensive outfielders there is.
Yeah, I think Judge is just happy in right field though. I think he's happy there. And I mean,
He's
the
played
Yankees.
center.
I mean, he has played center too, and I also think the Yankees though too. I mean, I think the Yankees though too. If you put Kiermaier as center, you still have Stanton, you still have Judge on the other side, right? I think Stanton might be
I don't think they've
winding
put
it down.
Stanton in the outfield in literally like 2 years.
No, he was in the outfield this year a couple times. A couple times he was, not much.
He might have a couple of times when Judge was hurt, but
there's a lot more free agents to get through. Notable ones though, Kershaw, but he might
I
be
think
done.
he
We
retires.
did mention him, yeah. CJ Crone, Mitch Garver, Adam Duvall. I think he stays in Atlanta. Adam Duvall. Gio Urshela, third baseman for the Yankees. He is no, is Gio Urshela still in the Yankees?
No,
Or no, he
no,
went to
he
the
was.
Angels. He was in the Angels.
Yeah, he was on the Angels.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me touch on those first two. Crone, okay.
CJ Crone, yeah. First baseman CJ Crone.
I could see him going back to Detroit to replace Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah. No, Miggy's retired now, so.
I know.
But Miggy hasn't really played a lot for his base pass career. He's been mostly
He's been
DH.
he's been a DH mostly, but I think that you can bring Crone in as a DH.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good power bat.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch Garver showed he turned it around.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of disappeared for a while. Everyone thought he was the hottest thing going when he broke out with the Twins in 19.
Yeah. But he played well. He played well in that World Series. Played decent in the
He
World
played
Series.
well in the postseason.
Got a couple clutch
I
hits.
think he gets re-signed in Texas.
Yeah, I don't think anybody who's a free agent in Texas, because I know Jordan Montgomery's a free agent in Texas. I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he stays. After that World Series, I think he stays unless he wants to try the market because he just won a World Series. So that's a possibility. So I think that's
Is
more
that
free agency stuff will come. There are a lot of names out there. You got
yeah?
Chapman still. James Paxton, Canadian boy, he might go somewhere. I mean, there's a lot to go over still with this, but this is a quick. This is a
That
lot
was
more
like
to
a
come on
top. That
this.
was like a top 10, top 12 type
Yeah,
deal.
this is
Yeah,
this can be a lot. There's a lot more to come, and we'll be covering more of this as the time goes on over the next winter months. Moving over to hockey though.
where do you want to start with hockey? Because there's
Let's
a
start.
couple of stories I want to talk about.
Let's start with the Leafs because let's get the monkey off our back on this one here because
What the fact that Austin Matthews scored a hat trick last night and they still lost to Buffalo?
yeah, that's I mean that guy. Okay, first off, let's just say Matthews is playing that contract. He's playing it. He got that contract, and he's proving that contract right now.
Absolutely.
Right, and that's good. Um, Wall has been pretty good, but he's also had a couple cold moments. Samsonov right now to me is kind of
He's
the
the one B.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's almost the odd man out.
See, so I don't know if you remember this, but I remember when they were playing the 1A, 1B situation with Reimer and Jonas Gustafsson. And eventually Jonas,
When the Leafs didn't have a fucking defense, and they were stopping 50, 60 shots a night.
when it
Yeah,
was
that's a
when it
lot
was
really fair to both.
when it was basically Dion Phaneuf and nobody else.
Yeah, it was literally right. They got the shit in the stick on that one. Right,
Although to
I
be
feel
fair,
bad for
listen,
Reimer and all that.
listen, James Reimer got him to a playoffs, okay?
Yeah, he did, and he got crapped on by a
Not
lot of the
really. They
Toronto.
went.
By the Toronto media. Sorry,
Oh yeah, okay.
right?
But
Not by in general, but like just by the Toronto media. And quite frankly, that's unfair to him. He was a good goalie for Toronto who got crapped on.
I bet you by the trade deadline, they're going to know who their starter is going to be. And I think it's going to be Joseph Wall. I think they trade Samsonov at the deadline, if
Yeah,
not before that,
I I'm not
and
going to disagree with you.
go get some defensive help.
Yeah, because they need defensive help.
Hmm.
Well, NHL last night was very interesting. Leafs lost 6-4 to Buffalo.
San Jose
Ducks.
gave up 10 goals again.
That team is a shell of what they are. What they
What,
were.
San Jose?
Yeah, a shell of what they were. A shell.
If you had
It's
any expect,
not even a good shell. Nobody has expectations of San Jose. Nobody.
if anybody had expectations of San Jose, you need to go get your head checked. Okay.
True.
Now,
You, you know,
that
yeah.
being said, I have nothing against anybody who chooses to be a San Jose Sharks fan.
No,
I've never personally met one.
no, I've never. I mean, I when San Jose first came in the league, I thought they were really cool. Right, the
Yeah.
Sharks was really cool. I didn't mind them by all. I mean, they had Archer Zerbe at one point. Like, that was fantastic. Like, he was a phenomenal goalie back in the
Hey,
day.
Owen Nolan was one of the best
Yeah,
in the league at one point,
exactly.
but
But
here's
I
the thing.
mean,
Here's the thing, right? Okay, let's just cut the bullshit.
mm,
Okay? I don't think something like that has happened since like literally the 80s
mm,
or the 70s where a team has given up 10 goals in back-to-back games.
yeah, that's fucking embarrassing.
Okay? Like
That's fucking
and
embarrassing. Like,
I know the one against Vancouver Friday night was on home ice.
yeah, that's
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, that's like
I want to touch on something that happened last week though.
yes, we want to get that really quickly. Blackhawks won. Bedard scored his fifth. That was actually that's good for him.
It was a good shot too.
Vegas right now is still looking like that powerhouse, man. 7-0 last night. Like seven over
Are they still
Colorado. Over Colorado.
are they still unbeaten in regulation?
They are 11-1-1 right now.
Okay, so they have lost in regulation.
Yes, but there are.
I looked at their record like early last week or
Yeah,
early this week, and they were 9-0-1.
yeah. That they're looking. They're looking like they're going to repeat. I mean, they lost to. Sorry, they just lost tonight, 4-2, the Ducks. But let's talk about something really quick because this is going to lead right into our next point.
Mm.
Last night, there's a big thing. I know Kachuk had something to say very nicely about the fans in Ottawa booing the crap out of the team after they lost 6-4 to the Senators. Ottawa is in, is in a
Ottawa lost to the
Ottawa.
Senators.
Sorry, Ottawa lost to the Lightning. My apologies, folks. That team is not looking great right now. That team has a lot of problems.
But again, I don't. Again, I know everyone got kind of hyped up. They were throwing out all these extensions left, right, and center, and like everyone's like, "Oh, like we're gonna be a playoff team."
Yeah,
I don't think so.
no.
Okay,
It's
now,
still early. It's still really early, folks, but I mean, it's not looking great.
but here's the thing, okay, and this you're right. It does lead into what I wanted to talk about.
Segway, folks. Segways.
So, I mean, again, truth be told, this is Sunday, November 5th. We were going to record this Thursday, which was November 2nd. And the news that came out that day was that Ottawa gave up a first round pick for failing to provide the no trade list for Evgeny Dadonov to Vegas. I believe that was
that was it.
Yeah, I believe that was the situation when Vegas tried to trade him at the deadline last year.
Yeah.
And so because of Ottawa's role in that, they lost a first round pick.
Yeah.
That prompted new owner Michael Andahar. Is that his name? Something like that.
Let me just look this up really quickly here.
Anyways, he was saying that, like, you know, something to the effect of
Andelar.
Andelar. Okay.
Yeah.
He said something to the effect of, I kind of wish I knew about this before I bought the team.
Yeah.
Because this comes literally a week after what's his name got suspended for gambling.
Oh yeah.
And I have a problem with that suspension too, because he's still serving the suspension even though he's not signed. And because he's under suspension, I guess there's a loophole in the whole RFAs have to be signed by December 1st or they have to sit out for the year.
Yeah.
So that doesn't apply to him because he's suspended.
Yeah.
I think something's really weird's going on in the NHL right now.
Yeah, it's almost like that guy's playing the patsy.
I think something's really weird going on there.
Yeah, there's something going on.
Because that's unheard of to me in any sport.
No, I mean, no. If you're suspended, it's because, like, we've seen in baseball, we've seen it a lot of places. Like, was it Ryan Braun? Right? Was it Ryan Braun in baseball got suspended, but he wasn't. But it didn't take effect till he came onto a new team, right? Was it Ryan Braun?
Yeah,
It wasn't for, but it wasn't for when he was in Milwaukee. But he got suspended while he was in Milwaukee. But when he came back, he had to serve a suspension, which was like 30 games.
Oh, right, because of his rule. That was the bus that A-Rod got like 184 game suspension or something like that.
Yeah, so like there's something fishy going on in Ottawa. Don't know what it is.
The
but
NHL is the most inconsistent league in the world.
Well, that's Gary Bettman's fault.
Because think about it. And this leads into something I heard today. So you mean to tell me that the Chicago Blackhawks, now, yes, again, full disclosure to the audience, I am a fan of the Chicago Blackhawks, but I will not sit here and make excuses for what happened to Kyle Beach or anything about that scandal that came out last year or 2 years ago.
Apparently a new one came out too recently.
So, well, there were always two victims.
Yeah.
Kyle Beach was the only one named.
Mm-hmm.
The other one just sued the Blackhawks today.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Today.
So I still haven't found out the name of this person.
I had it. I don't know what it is anymore.
But
Anyway.
here's the thing. Basically, a bunch of people lose their jobs. That was kind of like the wake of this sexual assault scandal coming out.
Yeah.
So Ottawa has to lose a first round pick for pretending a no trade clause or a no trade list was ever given to them, which I understand is tampering. It's bad. Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
You want to give him punishment of a first round pick? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago covers up a sexual assault for over 10 years.
Yeah.
The only results is basically the entire front office got fired.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Quenneville, who wasn't even on the team at the time,
Yeah.
he was coaching in Florida. He lost his job, his career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there was no draft picks involved.
No.
And guess who just got the first overall pick?
Chicago.
In last year's draft.
Chicago.
Right. You want to tell me that that's not fucked up?
It's really fucked up.
Right. So the inconsistency with the NHL. Now, we are about to enter the 30th. Next year will be the 30th season under Gary Bettman leadership.
Yeah.
It is time for that motherfucker to go away for good. They need new blood at the head of the NHL. This old boys club that run the NHL, they all need to fuck off, die, or retire.
Yeah.
I love the game of hockey. I have since for as long as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my fondest memories come from watching hockey. But the NHL continues to be they are the reason that they're number 4 when it comes to the big 4 in North America.
Yeah.
They are their own worst enemy, and it's mostly Gary Bettman's fault.
Well, Bettman's.
They've been through 3 lockouts with Gary Bettman.
Yeah, yet he still has a job. Because he's like Roger Goodell. He is an owner's commissioner. That's what he is. He's an owner's commissioner, right? Roger Goodell has been through more scandals since he took over than Paul Tagliabue ever did, or Pete Rozelle. Like Pete Rozelle had his problems, but that was mostly with Al fucking Davis. All right.
My biggest beef with Gary Bettman will always be that he made the NHL the owner of the Arizona Coyotes just so that Jim Balsillie couldn't buy the Coyotes and move them to Hamilton.
Yeah, Gary Bettman's an idiot. Gary Bettman has moved teams for no reason. I mean,
well,
they had reasons, but they weren't.
Hold on.
Enough reasons. Let's be honest.
Hold on. So it's not Bettman's approval that needs to be done for a team to relocate.
Well, part of it does. He has a say in it.
Yeah, but it has to be a vote by the owners.
Yeah.
Okay, to approve relocation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And like I remember being in high school, 2007, when Jim Balsillie tried 3 separate times. And actually, this was just depicted in the biopic about Jim Balsillie that came out this past summer. I can't recall the name of the movie. But yeah, the NHL will not grow until Gary Bettman goes away.
The NHL, yeah, Gary Bettman needs to go. Mainly, Gary Bettman is He's just look. I understand we're in Canada. We're Canadian. Okay, hockey is our sport, no matter what anybody else thinks it is, whether they think it's lacrosse or whatever, right? It's pretty much the national sport. It's a foregone conclusion, right?
Hockey's a religion up here.
Yeah, it's religion, okay? Gary Bettman's been trying to build the NHL in southern states for a long time. It makes no sense why there's teams in Tampa, Florida, in general, right? Texas, also. It makes no sense, but it's there. Okay, they've won cups, they've won all stuff. There's a lot of people out there who firmly believe that Gary Bettman is the reason why certain teams have won the Stanley Cup and have been in that area and have won the cup because Gary Bettman refuses to have a Canadian team win the cup, even though the teams have generally been better than a lot of the American teams. Now, some of them have screwed up over time,
Look,
right? But that's a different thing here or there. Okay, but Gary Bettman is trying to build stuff in the U.S. For years.
Yeah.
Right. Here's the thing. In hockey, your biggest fan bases are right above that southern line. Minnesota, Detroit, Boston,
Chicago,
Toronto, Quebec, everybody in Canada, right? Hell, Seattle has a better attendance rate than Seattle's a better attendance rate than Phoenix, and Seattle just came to the league recently.
Listen,
Vegas doesn't even have home ice advantage, just so you know. But continue.
Look, here's the way I see it. There is a brand new arena ready to go in Quebec City.
Yeah, we've been saying for years we're at the Nordiques.
There is nothing, I repeat, nothing stopping the NHL from allowing Arizona to move back to Quebec. Now, I say back to Quebec like they used to be the Quebec Nordiques. No, they didn't. Okay, yes, the Phoenix Coyotes or Arizona Coyotes used to be
the Winnipeg Jets.
And for those that are not too familiar with hockey, it gets weird, okay? The Winnipeg Jets turned into the Phoenix Coyotes, and the Atlanta Thrashers was a short-lived team for about 10 years until they moved back to Winnipeg, and basically nobody wanted a name other than the Jets.
You know, I don't know if you remember this, but it's one of the favorite lines I've ever heard. It's one of the most laughable lines I ever heard Gary Bettman come out of his mouth. I laughed at it. And I looked at it like I said, you're an idiot. When the Jets came back, the first thing he said in that whole thing, press conference, was, "We never should have left." Well, duh.
It wasn't his
No, it was approved by the owners, which never should have happened.
Timeout.
Right? Because you want to had arena problems.
Flag on the play.
Flag on the play. That's not a flag on the play. That's 100% fact.
Flag on the play. Listen, the reason why hockey failed in Winnipeg the first time is because the owners went fucking bankrupt. That's why hockey failed in Quebec City. Because the arena was falling apart and the owners were broke.
Okay, so what makes you think now? If you're saying all this, that's fine. What makes you think now bring a team back to Quebec that would make a lot of sense?
Because the arena is brand new.
Okay, how long has it been standing for?
Like less than 5 years.
Okay, so less than 5 years.
Like literally, like
it's. So they're already gonna look at upgrades.
Brand new.
So they're already gonna look at upgrades anyway.
It is a brand new arena. It's like, look, we can even use basketball as an example. Do you think Seattle should have lost their team to Oklahoma City?
I think Seattle's Supersonics should have left the NBA.
Exactly. But they did because the owners didn't have the money to fix the arena.
That's also a city thing too.
Exactly.
Right, that's a city thing too. So part of it.
My point is,
everyone has their hands in everything. Batman has his hands in it. The owners have their hands in it. The city has its hands in it. They all have their hands in the stuff. So really, it's a collective crapshoot.
Right. So for you to like kind of paint this picture like Bettman's this like fucking Emperor Palpatine motherfucker.
Because he partially is.
Like he's a puppet master.
He's the most booed guy and most booed commissioner in the history of sports, other than Goodell. Seriously.
I would argue the boos are louder for Bettman than Goodell.
I don't know. It's almost 50-50, maybe even 60-40.
Eh?
It's a debatable question. I mean, people who want to put in comments, go right ahead, but it's debatable.
But
I mean, like one's here, the other one's here, but then this one does something stupid, and then this one here does something other stupid, so they can surpass each other.
I just don't understand how this dude keeps his job.
Nobody does. Because, well, like I said, he's an owner's commissioner, just like Goodell, an owner's commissioner.
Yeah.
Right? You want to talk about inconsistency? Look at the NFL. You want to talk about refs? Just go that.
When's the last time a team moved?
In the NFL
was when Baltimore, right?
Baltimore was the last team that left in the middle of the night.
Went back to Cleveland.
No, the Baltimore Colts
moved.
Sorry, the Indianapolis Colts. Who was it? Baltimore Colts moved to Indianapolis in the middle of the night. Cleveland moved to Baltimore.
Right, to become the Ravens.
And Cleveland never had a team. They did the expansion to Cleveland again after a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because Cleveland, well, that's the owner. That was the owner in the city. But that was before Goodell's time.
Now, that was still
Tallybo.
Before we get out of here, I want to tee up the CFL because the Grey Cup's coming, man.
We do, and
so
Argos all the way.
Oh, absolutely. The Toronto Argonauts have been the best team in the CFL since winning the Grey Cup last year.
Yeah, they are going for.
They're the defending champs. Yep. They won.
The last time they went back to back, if I'm correct, it was when Doug Flutie was still the quarterback.
Right.
If I'm correct, I could be wrong on that.
The Argos went 16-2 this year.
Yes, okay. And they'll be playing the Montreal.
They're playing Montreal
at 3:00 on the 11th
on Saturday. Yeah, which it's funny because I was talking to my father-in-law last night, very briefly, and I asked him how the game was going because Montreal was playing Hamilton. I said it didn't matter. I said because they're both just playing for the right to get absolutely their shit kicked in by Toronto.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it is football though, right?
BC is moving on to play Winnipeg. Like literally, this is lining up for a Grey Cup rematch from last year.
Yeah.
Where Toronto beat Winnipeg. And but you would have to try very hard to convince me that anybody's beating Toronto at this point.
I mean, you know what? Since it's on a Saturday, is it Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Any given Saturday. But I don't think the Argos are going to lose. I think the Argos are going to just rip through Montreal. Montreal isn't the same. Like you always used to call this like a rivalry, Montreal and Toronto rivalry in like the CFL. It wasn't. It's not anymore. Calvillo's not there.
No, the best rivalry in the CFL is
Toronto and Hamilton.
Probably Toronto and Hamilton.
I almost want to say the Battle of Edmonton's always fun too. Calgary and the Elks.
Listen, no, okay.
Well, so on the West Coast, it probably is.
The Elks haven't been a good team in like a while.
They've been a good team since they changed that name. Hate to say it.
Political correctness and stuff.
I understand that too, but for the amount of time, for the longest time they were there, they were fine until political correctness all of a sudden became a fucking thing. I'm sorry.
Society
they're more successful. You know what? Why is it when a team turns to crap, especially have they have a native name or a aboriginal name, right? And it's somewhat racist in some way, shape, or form. If the team's crap, they get rid of them. They get rid of the team name and they change the name. But if the team's good, they keep it.
Chicago. Is that a reference?
Maybe yes, maybe no.
Just say it with
because I don't really know if it's a reference to the Blackhawks. So because I know with the Redskins, when they were the Washington Redskins, they were better than they are as the Commanders or the no-name Washington football team. They were better. Assuming they were winning, nobody gave a shit about the name.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Dan Snyder's a piece of shit.
I'm not saying it's Dan Snyder. We all know Dan Snyder's a piece of crap. Everyone does. Look, but when they were winning, nobody cared.
Look, at the end of the day, it's like this. We bleed double blue over here. Okay.
Of course we do.
And by the way, for anybody watching, and you can fight me on this too, big man, the CFL is a more exciting game than the NFL can ever be. Don't at me.
No, I'm not going to go at now. What I'm going to say, though, is this. And a friend of mine said this a long time ago. The NFL is made for TV.
Yeah.
The CFL is more sport than anything else. The CFL, let me say this, is a safer game for a lot of people. If you look at concussions, which is a massive thing nowadays.
That 5-yard halo, man, on returning kicks.
Right. Has saved probably more lives than anything else. Should the NFL adopt it? Absolutely. Should they adopt should the NFL adopt a bigger field, wider field that they talked about? Absolutely. Would it cut down concussions? 100%.
If the NFL even adopted some of the rules that the CFL utilizes,
they have. I can't remember which ones they did, but they weren't.
The NFL would be like a much more enjoyable product on TV, except for just the play.
The NFL's enjoyable.
It can be, but there's some games that are fucking boring as shit.
It's true, but it's also the NFL has a lot of problems. Now, I'm an NFL guy. I love the NFL, but it does come with its problems. The NFL is one of those things where there's more controversy nowadays in the NFL than there ever was. Ever was with anything.
That's because there's like literally 80,000 cameras.
Yeah.
In every stadium.
Yeah. Like the Immaculate Reception says Franco Harris caught it. Pittsburgh fans say Franco caught it. Raiders fans said it touched the ground. Franco never caught it. I say it's too hard to tell if he did or not. But it's just cameras, right? As you bring to your point, cameras. Okay. Cameras.
Camera work was not.
It wasn't. It was a back shot.
Yeah.
Right. But if that happened nowadays in the NFL, you'd have a lot of controversy right there. On
that the best example I have of that is, remember 28-3? That there's a catch in the fourth quarter.
Are you talking about the Julian Edelman's catch in the Super Bowl against the
Edelman catch? Yes, the Julian Edelman catch.
The juggle.
When I first saw it in live action, I was watching the game.
It looked like it hit the ground.
I thought it hit the ground.
Yeah.
I thought I'm like, there is no way he caught that.
He caught it, though.
And, slow motion replay, multiple angles. Okay, yeah, shit, he got it.
If that game was done in the 70s,
that would have been incomplete.
That would have been complete.
100%. Oh, 100%.
100%. Incomplete. Even in the 80s, even in the early 90s, it would have been complete. Now, not so much.
But I think, this is how I'm going to end off. This is how I'm going to end off today's episode. Okay, you ready for this?
Yet they still miss a blatant defensive pass interference.
Here's how I'm gonna end today's episode. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think the overutilization of replay is killing sports. on TV. I hate it sometimes, especially in baseball. Okay. Most people that know me know I am a baseball guy first. And like literally, since they brought in instant replay, we're literally arguing fractions of an inch.
Actually, I'd say since they brought in that box around the strike zone in the pitching.
That doesn't even matter. That's like
No, it's
that
not official, but a lot of people use it as a justification.
no, and that's fine, whatever. Like everyone added that to their TV product. Okay, cool. But at the end of the day, it has zero effect. Like unless you're
What the
trying,
umpire says, yeah.
unless you're trying to show a casual viewer where the ball's attempting to go.
It's probably where it's supposed to be.
Right. But like hardcore fans use it as like, oh, you know, it clipped the outside of the zone. It's a strike. Okay, yeah, cool. But guess what? The umpire called it a ball. Who cares?
So are you saying it's like when Fox first got the NHL, they had the glow in the dark puck?
As a kid, I used to love that. Full disclosure. As a kid, I used to love that.
As a
But
man who was older than you by a number of years, about
yeah,
9 years,
yeah.
when I first saw that, I laughed my ass off, and I still do to this day.
So we're talking like 1995-ish,
Found that, yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
keep in mind, I was 3 and 4 years old.
No, that's fair.
You were 12.
I,
Okay.
I was already
You already knew enough. You already knew enough to know what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Me, I just see, ooh, it's glowing.
I already knew what disappointment was at that age with the Leafs.
but but yeah, I think that the overutilization of replay is killing sport, man. There's no such thing as a close call anymore or one that go either way. You take the human element out of sports. Okay? And I miss that.
Yeah, well, part of it is also because there's a lot of people look, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there about a lot of things. God knows I've said a few things. But I think that's why there's replay. That's why all that stuff's coming to play more and more in the forefront. It's not. I know it's not a popular. It doesn't make it as exciting when it's just the thrill of the thing. But it's just a matter of trying to get things right because there's been a lot of controversy. And you probably say it started with the Immaculate Reception.
Do you
or
know?
Goes to the Post.
Do you know what precise moment happened in baseball that made them bring in instant replay?
No.
The Armando Galarraga botched perfect game in a meaningless regular season game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, that could have done wonders for the career of Armando Galarraga.
Mm-hmm.
But because Jim Joyce is a human being and missed a very obvious call, like dude was out by a step. I don't know why. To this day, I still don't know why he ever called him safe. But that right there, especially since anyways, it was a meaningless regular season game. The Tigers were already on their way to the playoffs. Like, that is what made you bring in instant replay and not something like, okay, as Jays fans, the most infamous thing I can think of where replay would have changed the course of history is Game 3 of the 92 World Series. The should have been triple play. You ever see that play?
Oh, I saw it.
Or I'm sure you probably watched it live.
I watched it live.
There you go.
It was a long time ago. I mean, I'll be honest. That would be more infamous if the Jays didn't win the World Series in '92.
Probably.
That's a fact. But they won, so nobody gives a shit.
Right. Absolutely.
At least as far as Toronto Blue Jay fans go.
But to your point where you just said like people just want to get things right.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
But
Yeah,
here's but to that I'll say this. To you listening to this or watching this on YouTube, or even to you, Andrew,
Mhm.
are you 100% right all the time in everything you do in your life?
Am I gonna be honest here right now? Then no, I'm not 100% right on everything. If I was, then I wouldn't be here right now.
I'm not.
No,
I make
I mean,
mistakes all the I make mistakes all the time.
yeah,
Do you make mistakes at work?
oh yeah, God knows I make mistakes. Everyone makes
So do
mistakes,
I.
folks.
So do I.
Everyone makes
Okay.
mistakes.
Right. So do I. So why do we hold No, I understand there's millions of dollars on the line.
Mhm.
But why do we hold these guys way more accountable than we hold ourselves?
I think a lot of it is mainly because mistakes happen and people are okay with that. But I think the mistake is when it's becoming consistent. When it's a consistent mistake is when the issue starts to come arise.
Right.
Because sometimes mistakes happen and that people are okay to go, okay, it's a mistake, it happens.
Hmm.
But if it happens the next game,
Hmm.
the game after that,
Hmm.
game after that, it becomes a problem. The catch rule in the NFL is a big one, right?
So why are we arguing over fractions of an inch in a sport where out of 10 you're still one of the best in the world?
Because sometimes that's the difference between making the out and not making the out. At least in baseball. At least in baseball. Other sports are different. Other sports have their own reasons for instant replay. Instant replay really came to a forefront back in, I want to say 1989, 1990.
Probably.
I remember the first time hearing about instant replay
But
was WrestleMania 6.
like you understand my point, right?
Yeah, I
Like
understand
it's
your point.
like I think replays killing the watchability of sports, which is why most of my consumption of sports is 10-minute recaps on YouTube,
Mm.
you know, on official league sites, of course.
Yeah. Well,
But
controversy builds
on that
cash.
note, on that note, I appreciate y'all if you've stuck this long. We're kind of trying out these new extended episodes.
We're trying a bunch of new things here on the DA Sports, guys. We're
Of
trying a bunch of new
course,
stuff. Like we're trying different editings. We're trying to go a little more differently. We're trying just to do more. Um, for you, the viewer, and for us, the human beings, trying to make this big.
absolutely, and you know,
Just stick
at the
with
same,
us. Trust me. You won't.
yeah,
You will
absolutely.
not be upset.
If it's your first time listening or you've been listening for a while, I mean, we appreciate it nonetheless. You're more than welcome to give us feedback. I know we both tend to ramble sometimes, but I try to make it as coherent and entertaining as possible, or
Mhm.
educational.
Yeah.
Um, and that being said, up on the site now, right now, is our last wrestling episode where we previewed Crown Jewel. We talked about Ric Flair signing a contract at 76 years old to wrestle. And we also talk about Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou.
Mhm.
Um, Coming up later this week, we'll go over what happened at Crown Jewel. We'll talk about what happened on Raw, Dynamite, and also we will preview Full Gear.
Mhm.
If you missed our last sports episode, we talk about, you know what? And it's funny, actually, we didn't even touch on the fact the Rangers won the World Series. But
Yeah, we probably should have the MLB stuff, but
yeah,
hey, remember the theme of this at the end of it was mistakes happen.
absolutely.
Everyone's human. Forgive, maybe not forget, maybe forget, but mistakes happen. You are humans. God knows I am. God knows I've made mistakes, and boy, have I paid.
I'll leave the listeners with this. be kind to yourself. Okay. You only got one life, right? And life's too short to get hung up on minute details. So start being kind to yourself, man. And, sometimes life isn't that serious.
True.
This has been DA Sports. You can find the show everywhere except iTunes. We're still working on the Apple. And you can follow Andrew. He's on TikTok now. Andrew at DA Sports on TikTok, posting videos about his cat and stuff. And you might even find little clips of the show once in a while.
I'm trying to do. I'm really trying to learn that right now. Irritating.
He is Apricel1982 on Instagram. I am DLines1991 on X. You can follow the show DA Sports Pod. You can find us most social media. We're even on Facebook now. Okay, DA Sports Podcast. Until next time, we'll see you down the road.